After a week of being attacked for not passing any Sandy relief, John Boehner and Republicans in the House earlier today finally passed at least something, sort of a down payment on relief for those affected by Hurricane Sandy. And so we're talking about here $9.7 billion passed. Now, this is not nearly as large as what the Senate had passed, which was $60 billion. So that's already passed there. But finally in the House, they make some progress, although it's interesting to note that 67 Republican lawmakers voted against even this limited aid to Sandy victims.
What was the story with the initial decision not to pass it? Was it really just petty bitterness? Like we just got our ass kicked?
I think he didn't want to do any more spending within that context. Now, so
sort of. That's
petty, right?
Like you didn't get any cuts. We didn't get any spending cuts, so I'm not going to authorize this spending right now.
Right, and it's not just that. The Club for Growth, which is a right-wing organization, which is very, very powerful, helped get Senator Pat Toomey elected, Marco Rubio elected, et cetera, said that they're grading this, and that if you vote for that extra spending, they're going to mark it against you and say you're not as conservative. So they're really mad at the people who voted for hurricane relief. This is not a small conservative organization. It's a very large conservative.
Club for Growth is a big deal.
Yeah, so a lot of the Republicans, as you pointed out, over 60 of them voted no because...
Even just for this small amount.
Right, and get a load of this, including Republicans from states like Louisiana. When it's hurricanes that hit Louisiana, they vote yes. When it's hurricanes that hit somewhere else, they vote no. By the way, the Republicans from New York, New Jersey area, when it hits them, they raise a furor over it. When it comes to spending to help anybody else in any other context, oh no, we got to cut spending, man. We just got to cut spending.
Let's keep an eye on Peter King.
Yeah, absolutely.
And future disasters.
And look, but to me, this is the critical difference between the two parties. Is the government there for all of us to help one another in times of need, or is it everybody for themselves, sad day for you, that's it? And the Republicans actually are not fully in the camp of sad day for you. What they're really mainly in the camp of, no, when I need the help, you give me the money. And corporate tax giveaways, shoot, we do that all the time, right? So when the corporations who fund us need the money, absolutely, let's give $110 billion in subsidies to the oil companies. But when it's you, when it's the middle class who's not funding my campaign, when it's the poor, when it's not somebody in my district, well, of course I'm not going to give you money. So that's their governing philosophy. So spare me the crocodile tears about the Hurricane Sandy coming from Republicans.
Yeah.
They should have gotten the money, but in asking for the money, they are basically admitting that their philosophy is wrong.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about the difference between the two parties in regards to this. I apologize, I don't have his name anymore, but one of the new Republican representatives said that while I believe he was in favor, he voted for this, he said that in the future we really need to get to the private sector taking care of disaster cleanup and stuff like that. And look, sometimes the private sector does help. Like Walmart donated, I think, $25 million to help the Sandy victims. That's $25 million out of something over $60 billion they need to get back on their feet.
No.
So even after all these disasters, they're not learning the lesson.
No. By the way, that's not what he means. What he means is we should outsource this.
Yeah,
we should privatize FEMA. No, I'm not kidding. They want to do that. In fact, they brought in Blackwater during Hurricane Katrina, and they paid Blackwater for some of the help in that area. And of course, what happened in the rebuild? Just wild coincidence. A lot of the contractors that donate to the Republican Party wind up getting really inflated deals to rebuild some of those areas. Wild coincidence, I am sure. But yeah, they would love to privatize it so that, by the way, it costs the government more money.
Yeah.
The same amount to clean up plus 25% or more profit margin for their donors.
Yeah.
Trey Raydell from Florida.
Oh, thank you.
He's the guy who said that it should be privatized. Speaking, I'm sure, I don't have any problem for probably more than 100 Republican members of the House.
Would agree with him, probably.
Yeah, would agree with him. Yeah.
Man, this is a full-scale merger of business and government.